Before we dive into today's overreaction video, we got to show some love to the defensive coordinator, Brian Flores. I don't think I've ever seen a side of the football completely change from last season to obviously this season. Man, I am just so happy we upgraded from Ed Donatel to Brian Flores. So if you want to show him some love, drop a like on today's video. Maybe he comes across this video. So let's see if we could hit 1,000 likes. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman. And first things first, I just want to get a couple things off my chest before we dive into the latest injury news and obviously the overreactions from the Raiders game. Number one, you guys see it right there. I just miss Kirk Cousins. I keep thinking back to the play against the Green Bay Packers when the Vikings got the ball back after a turnover by Jordan Love. It's 17-3, and Kirk Cousins hits Jordan Addison up the seam right over the top of Jair Alexander. I just felt right there in that moment, I was like, maybe the Super Bowl is back on for a little bit. So after yesterday's games, good the defense played, man. I just wish number 8 was obviously suiting up and being QB1 for the purple and gold, but obviously that's not the case. So I just want to get that off my chest. I miss Kirk so much. And secondly, I do fully expect it to be Jaren Hall and Nick Mullins for the rest of the season. I think the Josh Dobbs experience is over. We'll dive into that a little more in depth at the later half of today's show, but I do expect fully to be Jaren Hall, Nick Mullins, a QB1, QB2, whatever order it may be for the rest of the year. And also this, enjoy the ride, Vikings fans. I understand that maybe our max potential as a team is not there without Kirk Cousins. Obviously, Justin Jefferson being nicked up and, obviously the recent injury news really hurt this football team, but just enjoy the ride. You are in the thick of things in the playoff race right now, so just sit back, enjoy the ride, and just appreciate that you are on the verge of making the playoffs and the Vikings could be playing wild card weekend, trying to shock the world maybe a little bit. So just enjoy the ride, enjoy the moment. It's kind of what I want to say to start today's show. But let's dive into the game here. So the Vikings obviously won a 3-0 ball game and probably one of the most football games I've ever seen of all time. But obviously, if you guys notice right there, it was Nick Mullins that ended the game. He was 9 of 13 for 83 yards. He only had 2 drives, and he put up already, I think it was like 15 more yards than Dobbs did throughout the entire game. But that was the box score from yesterday's matchup. Vikings obviously won 3-0. Getting more takeaways from the game as a whole here in a second, but I do want to kick it off with just the injury news because that was really the storyline of yesterday's game. Like, obviously, Josh Dobbs throwing Justin Jefferson a freaking hospital ball over the middle of the field. And I always think back to that quote Tom Brady said where it's like, it's not the league's responsibility to protect the offensive players. It's the offensive players. It's the quarterbacks. And right there, Josh Dobbs, don't want to put it totally on him, but Jefferson's running a deep in over the middle of the field, and you throw it up here, and he gets absolutely blasted. And obviously, he's now dealing with a chest injury. That's the latest update we got. But actually, Kevin O'Connell was speaking today to a bunch of media members, and he said he has a good chance to go, obviously, against the Cincinnati Bengals. It is a short week, but the fact that he is ready or has a good chance to go, I think it's a huge positive for the Vikes. Because when that injury happened, I was thinking to myself, and even earlier today before we get this report here, I was like, I could see Justin Jefferson missing the rest of this season. He battled back from that hamstring injury all for the past about 2.5 months now. Second drive back, he gets absolutely nailed in the chest, and he obviously was taken to the hospital. That was a precautionary move by the Vikes. But Kevin O'Connell said he has a good chance to go. So, that obviously, fires me up that we could see Justin Jefferson versus Jamar Chase this Saturday in Cincinnati. So, obviously, all good news from there. But obviously, Ed Ingram will fly through the rest of these. Ed Ingram did he did not suit up yesterday. He's still dealing with that hip injury. Obviously, Vikings, it's kind of looking back on it. We had Ezra Cleveland, and we finally had really good interior offensive line depth. And then obviously he gets hurt, and then you look around and you're like, oh, we have no depth at all, and we're playing Austin Schlottman at guard, we're putting Blake Brandel at guard, like these dudes just completely out of position. But another big injury yesterday, Brian O'Neill, our star right tackle, he does have a ankle sprain, and just a little bit on Brian O'Neill's performance this year. Montez Sweat killed him last Monday night, and he was getting his ass kicked by Max Crosby all day yesterday. I'm not saying the Vikings potentially have a right tackle problem right now, but maybe this offseason, maybe they're probably actually going to draft a tackle, which I really did not expect us to be saying because I thought Darrisaw, O'Neal, next tackles for the next couple of years. But obviously with O'Neal being in and out of the lineup with injuries and just his play not being up there, maybe we could be looking somewhere else. But then also Mattison. He also suffered an ankle sprain yesterday in the game. Not the biggest deal in the world. I actually think Mattison has been running a lot harder as of late, so which is obviously a good sign. But, ankle sprain, still got Ty Chandler, Kene Wong. We saw C.J. Ham get a carry yesterday. He actually looked pretty good on that. He had a little juice, a little pep in his step. He had a little 7-yard run. So Mattison, ankle sprain, that's the update there. Also Risner. We saw Risner leave the game yesterday. Ankle injury. No real report if it's a sprain or he broke it or anything, so I think that's a positive sign. But, hey, Vikings are definitely a beat-up football team right now, and it just kind of stinks. It's one of those things where you can't control it. It's obviously out of your control, but there's the latest injury report from the brutal game yesterday against the Raiders. But with all these injuries, let's get you guys involved on today's video. How much do these injuries concern you? Scale it for me, 1 to 10 down in the comment section. This will be the pinned comment on today's video. So if YouTube throws an ad break your way, sit back, let it play, answer today's pinned comment of how much do these injuries concern you. Coming up here in just a second, we're going to be going over the top overreactions from the Raiders game, mainly talking about the offense and obviously showing love to the defense because they have been absolutely balling out over the last 3 weeks. Fun fact, only 1 touchdown has been given up over the last 12 quarters by this Vikings defense. But I do first want to give a huge shout out to Game Time, today's sponsor of today's edition of Vikings Now. And you guys will get $20 off your first purchase if you guys download Game Time and use the code VikingsChat. If you guys want the best seats, the lowest price is guaranteed, make sure you guys get hooked up with Game Time. You shouldn't have to worry when you're buying tickets to your next big event. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their best price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. My favorite part about Game Time is when you go on the app, you can literally look around and see where you are sitting from that specific seat that you are looking to buy. I use Game Time for any time I'm going out anywhere that requires buying a ticket, and you guys should too. Make sure you guys do download Game Time and use code VikingsChat for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time app, create an account, use code VikingsChat for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code VIKINGSCHAT for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. So, number 1 overreaction from yesterday, offensive struggles again. It just kind of seems like over the past couple of weeks, we obviously lost the Josh Dobbs magic, and it just overall hasn't been going too well for the Vikings on that side of the football. And a lot of people are looking, who's to blame for all this? So I actually kind of created a little pie chart of blame right here, and I understand this may be, you may view this as an excuse or whatever it may be that have injuries at 50%, but you really lose Justin Jefferson for 7 games this season and pretty much all of the day yesterday. And then Kirk Cousins, you lose QB1. Obviously, injuries are a big reason why you are struggling offensively. But also, I got to chop it up to Kevin O'Connell. What was driving me crazy about the Josh Dobbs experience, run some quarterback runs, run some RPOs. They added it to the playbook yesterday, but Dobbs just never pulled the ball. They had it multiple times. I noticed it on the first couple of possessions when they run a little inside zone. Dobbs had that chance to take the football for his own. So I thought KOC, he's gotten cute in certain parts, but he just obviously hasn't been too good with his backup quarterback. And then turnovers and drop passes. Put a picture of KJ Osborne up there. I don't know what happened to him this year. He's just been dropping passes left and right. Didn't saw TJ Hawkinson drop another one yesterday. But fun fact about the Vikings over the last 2 seasons in the Kevin O'Connell era, they were undefeated when they win the turnover battle. Something to keep your eyes on there. But that's my pie chart of blame for the offensive struggles. Now, kick it to Ivan Pace, man. The UDFA out of Cincinnati. This story just keeps on getting better and better. I thought it was crazy in the preseason. He was wearing the green dot and calling plays for that side of the football. And now yesterday, he was the best player on the field for this defense. He had 13 tackles, had that game-sealing, game-winning interception when Aiden O'Connell was targeting Devontae Adams, just completely jumped the route. It was a hell of a play by him. He also had a tackle, and then he also had a sack. And he has been one of the best blitzing linebackers in the league this season. I almost want the Vikings to use him more as a Swiss Army knife, and we've seen Brian Flores do it here and there, but do it again. Do it more often. I love the way Pace comes off the edge. He has such a low center of gravity, so he can kind of put a move on a running back if he's picking him up in a blitz pickup, and he's been absolutely schooling guys. So he's been definitely living up to the hype that we heard out of, training camp and rookie training camp. I just love to see him play. He plays with such a chip on his shoulder, being a UDFA. Number 3 for me, NFC North is up for grabs, guys. Listen, if you would have asked me this a couple weeks ago, just talking about the North and everything, I would have said, you know what, this is the Lions division to win, and the Vikings really don't have a chance. But right now, as it states, if the Vikings win out, they control their own destiny. The Vikings would win the division. I understand these games, going to Cincinnati, none of these games are a given. You're going to Cincinnati, Jake Browning's been playing good football over there, and then obviously you do have the Lions twice. Those are the most important games. But even if you would drop this game to the Bengals and win out these 3 games, you would still have a chance if the Lions drop another one. It's just going to come down to those 2. The Lions actually have Denver coming into town this weekend. They've been playing a lot of good football as of late, so go Broncos. We're going to have to root for Sean Payton, which kind of stinks. But, hey, rooting for the Broncos over the Lions that week. These 2 games are going to be so much fun against the Lions. Hopefully they have some, division, implications on the line. But that's the upcoming schedule. If I had to call right now, probably say the Vikings split the rest of their games, end up 9-8. But, hey, you never know what can happen. Number 4 for me, and this is a positive of me saying this, Brian Flores is gone. I really don't think the Vikings have a chance to retain him to be the defensive coordinator, and people are already talking about, the Vikes possibly making him head coach and getting rid of O'Connell. That's just not going to happen. But Brian Flores is most likely gone. He has completely changed that side of the football. I love the way he plays that side, too. The amount of times the Vikings are showing zero coverage, I swear it feels like 60% of defensive plays, and it feels like probably about 95% of long third downs. The Vikings are lining up 6 to 7 to 8 guys on that line of scrimmage, and it's just a guessing game for the quarterback. And, over the first, I think it was like the first 10 weeks, the Vikings blitzed on like 70% of something third downs. And then over the last couple weeks, it was like 30%. You really don't know what you're getting with his defense. And he's gotten so much out of this group that really doesn't have a ton of top-end talent. He's getting great performances out of Pace, Mekhi Blackman, a bunch of these guys. So Flores, just really happy you were with the Vikes this year, and obviously we're going to have to wait and see if he can, hopefully he'll stay. But I really think he'll get a head coaching job, and it's, credit to him because he's done a great job. Number 5, we kind of teased this at the top of today's show. It's Jover. Yeah, the Josh Dobbs era is Jover in Minnesota. And listen, it was fun, man. Like that, was it the whole Falcons game and then the first half of the Saints game? It felt like the Jeremy Lin Sandy run back in the Mattison Square Garden with the Knicks, but I do think it's over. I think he's came back to reality, very, very quickly. Once these NFL defenses and these smart defensive coordinators get some tape on these guys, like you take away his first option, you keep him in the pocket, he is so incredibly easy to guard because the easy ones for him or for most quarterbacks are so hard for him, just taking that 5-yard out. We saw it when we were trying to get that game-winning drive against the Broncos. Hockenson was wide open on back-to-back 10-yard outs. He just missed them. So I think the Josh Dobbs experience is over. I honestly don't even know if he's going to be on the active roster as either QB1 or QB2 for the rest of the season. But obviously I do, like I said, I think it's going to be the Nick Mullins and Jaron Hall show. So I'll ask you guys, who do you think should start this Saturday versus the Bengals and for the rest of the year? I think it's going to be Nick Mullins. Would I do it? I'd probably start Nick Mullins as well. I think that's what KOC is going to do. But obviously you could go the rookie out of BYU, Jaron Hall, who looked great in that one drive you had against the Falcons. But I don't know. I think it's kind of one of those things where it's like if Mullins loses a game against the Bengals, you're probably going to bench him. But if he wins, just ride the hot hand and just overall enjoy the ride. But I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Listen, this season, obviously it has taken so many different turns. We started off 1-4. We fight all the way back to 500. Kirk goes down for the year. Jefferson goes down for, 2 months. And now we're looking up here on December 11th, and we're 7-6 with a very good chance to make the playoffs. I'll take it. Enjoy the run. No need to tank for a quarterback. That really has never worked out in the NFL. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Skol Vikes, baby.